Pharma as an industry is the one industry which is always solving real world challenges.
What are some of the latest things that are happening?
We are expected to produce somewhere about 60 billion to 110 billion of annual value across the pharma value chain. AI is being used in wide range of pharma processes, including clinical trials, personalized medicines, sales and marketing.
Being a very traditional industry, they probably want that confirmation bias continuously.
And for AI systems, while they are powerful, can unintentionally reinforce this bias if they are not trained on the data sets correctly and rather trained on biased data sets.
You build models or dashboards that are relevant to the business objective. How do you approach this overall problem?
Leaders need to differentiate between value-driven AI and vanity AI, if you'll say so.
So you mentioned about, keeping away from flashy tech.
Context is everything when it comes to data. For AI to reach its full potential in pharma, leaders need to shift focus from short-term gains towards development of a comprehensive AI strategy.
Hello and welcome everyone to the next episode of the AIM Media House podcast Simulated Reality. Today we have with us the head of data and analytics function at Indegene, Vikas Mahajan. Hi Vikas, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Kashyap. Thank you for having me for this discussion. This conversation is truly close to me, and to solve real-world challenge plus deliver hyper-personalized customer experiences. So looking forward to have a connect with you now.
Definitely. But before we dive into it, you said that, before the conversation, you were mentioning that you've worked 2 decades almost in pharma and life sciences, right? Did it happen by chance, or were you really passionate about it, or how did it go about?
From a passion perspective, I truly, everywhere I go, I see through the patterns, the data, how the insights are coming, what's next. So if I'm traveling, I'll say that, okay, there's these ads which are being shown up on billboards now, how we can do it differently, how you can generate it more, towards doing a more personalized customer thing. So that is a passion which I have. So always seeing through the patterns, if you're walking over a coffee, over tea, how you can say that, okay, this person or this customer has to be acquired by a different outlet altogether. A real-time messaging, giving the offers, discounts, making more personalized. So that's always been in my mind, that how things can do differently, bases the data, analyzing the patterns and making it happen in real world.
You're mainly passionate about identifying patterns through statistical analysis of data, right? In the world of pharma, what is happening? What are some of the latest things that are happening? You're seeing some cool stuff. I think pharma, the adoption was pretty fast. I think it was not as early as some of the other industries, but when the adoption happened, I think it has been really fast. And there are some really cool stuff happening. There's some news around AlphaFold and so many other things, and drug discovery, and a lot of things are happening. But from a commercial aspect, right, you are working very closely with leaders. What are some of the cool stuff happening? What are some the latest use cases that are being built using some state-of-the-art technology?
So, pharma as an industry is the one industry which is always solving real world challenges. So, over there are multiple areas that, pharma is focusing at. Considering, if you talk about Gen AI alone. Now, in Gen AI, what we see through is a study showed me that, we are expected to produce somewhere about 60 billion to 110 billion of annual value across the pharma value chain. Now, our own report, Indegene's own report, showed like 62% of pharma leaders have increased their investment in AI ML based applications over the past. So AI is being used in wide range of pharma processes, including clinical trials, personalized medicines, sales and marketing, innovative therapy solutions altogether. Now, however, this is also true in the same time that they have only, people have only scratched the surface of it. Our own research shows that 1 in 3 leaders are skeptical about the value they expect to generate from AI ML over the applications. So, my mantra to determine whether this AI is fulfilling its promise, it's straightforward. It hinges on how we define the right metrics for the success. Now, let me give you an analogy to this as well. A strike rate over 40 in a test cricket for a batsman is often considered as good for a batsman. We all know that. But would we consider a 40% strike rate in drug discovery or HCP segmentation or campaign effectiveness a success? Now, if you give the same strike rate of 40% in a T20, would you consider it as a good strike rate for the batsman altogether? Now, the point which I'm trying to make here is we redefine the metrics for AI to success to reflect on the incremental but transformation gains, rather have a perfect score every time altogether. So that these are certain things which are happening, as I mentioned, through about clinical trials, drug discovery, segmentations, campaign effectiveness, and with pharma being very much stringent on the regulations, privacy, protection of personal information, local and global market nuances. That's where AI plays a pivotal role, but it has to be evaluated with combination of factors, which includes efficiencies, reduced cost, scalability, improved patient outcomes, and the generation of novel insights. So overall, that is where the fun element, making sure that we are using the technology, enabling our customers, and making an impact really happens. To do all this, you always need to have a strong foundation. You need to have high quality comprehensive data. You need to ensure that data quality is in check and place. You need to ensure that the data which is available for training and validating is for the AI models is already been validated by itself. So without that robustness, even the most sophisticated algorithms will be eventually producing suboptimal results. So that is where I think the quality of data becomes strong foundation upon which everything else is being built through. So that is where I also tell to my clients that they must prioritize the strong foundations for their AI initiatives. This involves we are investing into data quality, governance, infrastructure, and then these all becomes a part of being a trusted partner who is aligned to your business, to your organizational goals and objectives as well. That is why it is very important to be wary of the shiny objects without strong foundations altogether. So in case there is poor quality data, biased data, incomplete data, that would often lead to incorrect predictions, misleading insights, and failed implementations. Now, leaders need to carefully vet that AI solutions by focusing not only on their immediate capabilities, but also on their data sources, quality controls, and how they can interpret that insights which are coming through. In one of our engagements with a leading Japanese pharma firm, where we work towards personalizing engagements for HCPs and boosting their prescriptions for its kidney disorder drug, the client needed to proactively drive better engagements with right content at right time. However, accessing the data insights, to make this possible posed a real challenge altogether. Additionally, lack of solid and explainable recommendation engine set them back in terms of providing the reps with reliable and high contextual recommendations for their HCP engagements altogether. So that is where we saw that okay, their adoption and adherence is going down. So what we did is we extensively engaged with the sales, with marketing, with the field reps, with their analytics teams to evaluate the brand readiness, to see through the strategies which they're concerned, considering altogether for increasing the adoption rates, including change management as well. So we incorporated an explainable AI model to provide transparent insights into the decision-making process, thereby instilling a higher level of confidence in the recommendations which were provided by the engine. So these are certain things, Kashyap, where where we are seeing fun, where we are making an impact to the client and keeping it, all jazzy, but then ensuring there is a strong foundation to it.
So you mentioned about, keeping away from flashy tech. That is a topic of interest for many, right? Here's what happens, and this is what I've been hearing, right? There's an executive leadership. There's a leadership and then an executive leadership above it. And usually they keep hearing some kind of technology which is coming. And Gen AI is the latest, toy that everybody wants to play around with. But I think this has always been the case, right? As an advisor, as a consultant in data and analytics function, you have observed this over a period of time. How do you consult these companies in ensuring that the technology that they adopt is realistic and shows real value rather than just flashy technologies? And how do you encourage them to have a dialogue and educate their executive leadership?
Now, we all have to agree that, with the innovation in AI, the life sciences industry is at the cusp of major transformation. With emerging technologies, we are poised to address some of the biggest challenges that we currently face, especially in healthcare data analysis, to unlock clinical, operational, and business values. Companies know the potential is there. Understanding the patient history, tracking the product performance, preparing for sequential and parallel launches, and even improving customer personalization. Rather, I would say moving towards hyper personalization. But in practice, is it that simple? No, it's not. It's not that simple. So finding the real world data sources, making sense of unstructured data, and integrating everything into a clear, unified view of the customer journey can be incredibly tough across the life sciences value chain. So these hurdles often stand in the way of adopting the winning strategies at the right time, especially when scalability and long-term brand performance is on the line. But what I am really excited about, and how I go about consulting our customers, how AI is enabling end-to-end solutions that completely transform the way we approach these problems, with the rise of hyper-automated ecosystems, which are powered by Gen AI, MLOps, RPA, NLP, NLQs. We can now achieve an end-to-end integrated, seamless system which enables integration, management, quality controls, transformations of vast amount of raw, unstructured data into one unified view. This end-to-end integration is a key because it accelerates the journey from data to insights, allowing us to have that speed and have that precision as well. So now if you'll imagine having access to data across various streams, be it sales, CRM systems, claims, EHR, EMR, payer, reimbursement channels, and even digital engagement touchpoints. When all this data is integrated seamlessly, the insights which you're gaining out of this is blastophobic, it's transformative, right? So you can now map all the holistic patient journey from initial diagnosis to treatment and follow-ups, while also tracking the disease trends, prevalence, and outcomes across different patient populations. You can analyze HCP prescription behaviors, segment the patients based on demographics, their morbidities, and assess the treatment effectiveness by correlating patient outcomes with prescription data as well. Even the impact on digital engagement on both HCPs, patients becomes clear. You can be there for having much informed strategies at this place. So at this level of integration, that truly excites me about the future of life sciences as the power of AI driven ecosystem that brings together all these touch points across the value chain, which is going to reshape how we handle patient data, make it more hyper personalized, and improve outcomes on both clinical and commercial fronts.
Let's dive a little bit more deeper into these things, right? You're dealing with a lot of clients. One of the major problems that industries face, and particularly in the pharma and life sciences commercial side of things, is the confirmation bias, right? That is something that is often cited as a major challenge when it comes to some of the decision making. Data leaders within these organizations are pretty particular about it, and they try to communicate around these things. Pharma being a very traditional industry, there is a set process and a set idea that some of the business side of leaders have, and they probably want that confirmation bias continuously. How do you, as a data analytics leader who's consulting these companies, help them de-bias some of the things and have a conversation more realistically, and probably convince them of not having this kind of set ideas and using data to just confirm it?
So I think firstly, you raise a very valid concern, Kashyap. So confirmation bias is a significant issue. We all suffer from our own biases, and for AI systems, while they are powerful, can unintentionally reinforce this bias if they are not trained on the data sets correctly, and rather trained on biased data sets, I would say so. So after all, because see, what will happen is AI systems are human creations, at least for now, and that's why they can often mirror the creator or the society. I came across a research review which found that the clinical AI models are mostly trained using data from the US, China, and due to these countries' advanced AI infrastructure as well, right? So this heavy reliance on their data creates a risk of bias and also limits the model's ability to work accurately in regions with different demographies altogether. So the key here is not to ignore the risk, but to confront it directly. Pharma leaders need to accept that the AI models, like human decision making processes, are prone to bias. And the first step towards mitigating is to acknowledge its presence. So I think addressing the bias in AI is not only the right thing, but a smart thing for a business. And the stakes for the business leaders are high in this. If we don't address this confirmation bias, the results can be catastrophic, especially in a field like pharma, where decisions directly impact your patient's safety, the outcomes there. So now with recognizing the confirmation bias, leaders can proactively build systems which can minimize its impact, through better governance, model transparency, rigorous validation processes. That's why I believe that the healthy skepticism, if you'll say so, is good for overall progress and advancement of AI ML technologies. In fact, if you'll see through, the healthy skepticism towards AI is not only justified, but necessary as well at certain times. Just as early, skepticism is aviation industry, in the aviation industry, or even in early days of internet led to more stringent safety protocols, design improvements. Questioning AI's validity can lead to better systems in future. This skepticism drives a continuous evaluation of AI models, pushing developers and regulators to scrutinize the data quality, algorithm fairness, and the transparency of it. It can ensure that the AI becomes more reliable tool for decision making in pharma, minimizing the risk like bias or inaccuracy at all. Now, to your question, what pharma leaders can do to address this confirmation bias? To start with, leaders must adopt a comprehensive strategy to ensure that AI solutions are effective and unbiased. To tackle this, there are several factors that leaders need to have attention to. So let's start with the data. The quality of the data, source of the data is paramount. AI is only as good as its data is trained on. So using diverse data, high quality data is the key to avoid bias or skewed results altogether. Now, secondly, having an effective data management and governance in place. It is really important to ensure that the data is accurate, timely, and relevant. So strong governance frameworks help improve overall efficiency and scalability of AI initiatives. Third point, keeping humans in the decision-making loop can help you identify potential biases in AI outcomes. So in AI, this could mean having clinicians reviewing AI-generated treatment plans to ensure that they're aligning with the real-world patient needs as well. Now, fourth point, leaders should align to AI goals with real business objectives and patient outcomes so that there are genuine needs being addressed rather than delivering insights that align to certain preconceived notions, I would say.
Yeah.
And lastly, the model should undergo continuous testing to identify and mitigate bias before they're deployed at scale. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is AI-driven insights have the potential to revolutionize, healthcare by enabling personalized, efficient, and effective treatments. However, it's crucial to address the challenge of confirmation bias and ensure that we deploy them responsibly.
There are two things that struck with me, right? One is relevancy of the metrics, and second is the business objectives. One thing is there is so much data, and if you have to create dashboards or models out of that data, you can create a lot of things. But the most important is the consumption coefficient of it, right? You really need to create data and models that improve the consumption of it so that it can create a real value and real impact on some of the decision making to cut costs or improve revenue. When working with your customers, ensure that, and also working with your data scientists and AI professionals, what is that framework that you put? Is there some kind of mantra that you have put to kind of ensure that there is, or some kind of rule that you have made to ensure that there is, you build models or dashboards that are relevant to the business objective? How do you approach this overall problem?
So that's a great question. So, and it's a challenge which we often see as well. But leaders need to differentiate between value-driven AI, which directly contributes to the business growth or patient outcomes, and vanity AI, if you'll say so. Those are flashy, expensive projects.
Yeah, vanity metrics. That's the term for it. Yeah.
So those are flashy, expensive projects, but that may showcase cutting edge technology, but lack the real, world evidences, if you'll say so. Talking through that, I think, well, when the metrics such as social media likes or email open rates, there aren't like inherently bad. They serve as a baseline, if you think so. So you don't gauge the engagement and the interest. It's similar to cooking. The raw ingredients by themselves may not be the meal, but they are the crucial components. Vanity metrics can be useful if they're understood as just one piece of this puzzle. So let's say if you're running a campaign on LinkedIn and you're noticing low conversions or lead generations, vanity metrics like impressions, likes, shares can help you figure out where the issue lies. If the impressions are low, it might mean you are not reaching enough of your target audience, and you may need to adjust your targeting criteria or broaden your audiences. But if the impressions are high and the engagements are high, such as clicks or form fills, you know that okay, it is resonating well with the audiences as well, and then you need to adjust the messaging accordingly. But the key here is that, which you asked as well, how the leaders combine these metrics, make it more meaningful data to inform broader strategies that drive outcome like customer retention, revenue growth, and personalization, if you'll say so. Achieving that is simple, if I'll say so. Go beyond the surface. Now, it's not enough to see high engagement numbers. We need to ask questions. Does this engagement lead to conversions, or are these interactions translating into long-term relations altogether? Defining what success looks like is critical. Secondly, context is everything when it comes to data. What might seem like a success in one context could be meaningless totally in another context at all. For instance, a search in an app downloads might look impressive, but without corresponding increase in active users or purchases, it's just a vanity metric, if you'll say so. So leaders need to align metrics with specific goals of their businesses. Contextualizing data ensures that the focus is on what truly drives the performance, not just what looks good on paper altogether. I might be a fastener on the field, but if I'm not running towards the finish line, that it doesn't matter altogether. In my experience, I have certain reasons why leaders fall for trap of vanity metrics. Firstly, might be quick sense of achievement. They want to look good. These metrics are easy to understand, provide instant gratification. But however, problem arises, what I have seen is that when leaders stop there, they fail to ask the harder questions to track metrics that reflect real business impact. I was recently involved in an org level initiative around continuous improvement. And while the focus of that was not just around AI, the learnings from that initiative were equally applicable to this context. Leaders need to themselves as well encourage their teams to adopt a culture of continuous improvement where success is measured by outcomes, not optics. They should prioritize creating an environment that values deeper insights over quick wins. When I work with the clients, I tell them the metrics that were once relevant or helpful can lose their value, their sheen as the market dynamics shift. What might have driven success over 5 years ago for them may not have the similar impact today. So the metrics also have to evolve as the business evolves as well. So I like to call this as an evolution, as a journey towards achieving actionable metrics which are making sense to our business, giving personalized recommendations, and also driven towards business outcomes like revenue, satisfaction of the customer, retention of the business, which provides a true picture of success.
The points that you made around short wins and quick wins is very crucial, right? And it is something very debatable. When the leadership decides to invest in AI solutions, or let's say data science, data analytics, they know that they're making a heavy investment. So data science doesn't come cheap. Resources are expensive. data scientists are in demand. The human resource in itself, this thing with Gen AI, the infrastructure cost is scaling. Calling APIs and renting out different APIs is an expensive affair. While that is the thing, they demand wins very quickly. And what has happened, my conversations with leaders, right? And I've spoken with different sets of leaders. There is CDOs and CIOs, and there's a cream, and they are reporting to essentially some business leaders. But at the same time, there is a set of practitioner leaders who are given unrealistic expectations, and they are the ones who have been building data science for a while, right? Because they've been working for 10, 15 years, and they are really struggling right now. They are the victims of this quick wins, quick ROIs, this thing, especially in technologies like Gen AI, where you need a little bit of patience, you need a little bit of this thing, because not only is it not only is the technology newer, not only is it evolving really fast, but at the same time, the scalability of these applications is much more complex than a siloed ML model, right, or a dashboard which is there. So, what is your take on this? How would you advise both the stakeholders, the practitioner leaders, as well as some of the really senior leaders, in terms of working together to setting realistic expectations so that over a longer term, you see more fruitful outcomes?
So I think very relevant question. So while short-term wins are essential for building momentum and validating the potential of AI in the organization, however, these wins are not strategically, if you'll say they're aligned and long-term with the long-term vision, they can lead to fragmented efforts and missed opportunities. So the key here is balance, connecting these quick wins which we have to a larger AI roadmap to ensure that these immediate successes don't distract from achieving more transformative and sustainable outcomes. Just like learning to ride a cycle, companies need to understand that rejoicing around the block, using the training wheels while not set them up, if you want to go faster and want to go that distance, would fail eventually. So now, if for instance, I'll tell you about when it comes to omni-channel reach, you can use the data set, past patterns of it, behaviors, to achieve short-term success. But to fully capitalize on this, you need a more integrated approach, a long-term strategy that would involve using data across various operations, field operations, campaign effectiveness, next best action to deliver hyper-personalized customer experience. So while the quick wins are valuable, they should be part of the bigger ecosystem that scales with the use cases. Take our work with hyper-automated AI, for an example. We integrated data sources from commercial operations, built automated data pipelines, and developed aggregated reporting based on the end user, the user personas altogether. And this wasn't just one-off win. It was designed using MLOps, RP, and other cutting-edge technologies to make it scalable and future-ready for our clients to have further use cases being added to it. In fact, we have seen to deliver impactful outcomes for our customers with this hyper-automated AI ecosystem altogether. They were able to reduce their data preparation time by 30%. We were able to see 1.5x improvement in the targeting and delivering customized communications to the customers altogether as well. So short-term wins, I would say, are like sprints and marathons. They can give you a burst of energy and help you to cover ground quickly. But the ultimate goal is to complete the entire race of it. So for AI to reach its full potential in pharma, leaders need to shift focus from short-term gains towards development of a comprehensive AI strategy, which can include AI efforts with the long-term business objectives, building a culture of innovation, continuously also assessing how AI can deliver beyond an isolated success or an isolated BU-driven, focus.
Now, my last question to you is, while the struggles of short-term wins versus long-term wins, the tug of war will remain, right? There are different stakeholders involved. There's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of different agendas and different conversations. What are some of the use cases, technologies you see coming out of this, right? And let me give you a little bit of context that I am observing. So I just told you, right? I was in India attending Cypher, and this is a line that I've repeated that I learned from another leader. Is 15 months ago we were getting 30 use cases, and we were trying 30 POCs, and we were trying to push 4. Now we are getting, what we are doing is we are only taking 4 cases, and we are making sure they scale. Right? So that is a very important learning. Considering this, and the usual tug of wars and some of these things, what are some of the exciting things that you see in the field of pharma coming through this, and that you are personally super excited about, and you're personally working on as well?
As I started saying that, what I have seen is that now in pharma, from a technology event, if you'll say so we are seeing that, there has to be an impact on real world. There has to be an impact on your customers. There has to be impact which matters for our customers as well. So with this happening is, we need to see that how your patient outcomes are driven, how your business growth is being valued through, what is the value delivered insights to our customers which are happening as well. And then, and as I mentioned in the last point, like, integrated ecosystem approach, which is happening where, now our clients, the organizations are also seeing the value in bringing everything together, rather, giving the business a siloed view as well. So, primarily what I have seen in past is that the data strategies were not clear. It was a major issue. The inaccurate results being treated as accurate was another, major issue altogether. Then a temptation to overinvest in tech without a clear use case was a major issue. IT infrastructure, was not prepared for demands of AI and scale to the future altogether. Then finally, fragmented AI strategies across different business functions, which you mentioned through, was another, red flag altogether as well. So now what I've seen, and which you mentioned as well, that basis all these major red flags, now what we have seen is that there is a comprehensive data strategy into picture, which is coming up. Clients are thinking through that, and I am heavily invested into ensuring that, when I'm consulting to my clients, I'm going to them with the proposition. First thing which I'm laying down is that data is the fuel that powers AI, and if the data is not relevant, comprehensive, AI won't deliver meaningful results. Secondly, I'm ensuring that the models which we are training are built on trustworthy data. They should not lack traceability. AI needs to be giving outcomes which are aligned to the business outcomes. There, has to be established fail-safe mechanisms altogether as well. And there has to be human oversight where, the results are reliable and actionable. We are also ensuring that the organization, which have separate AI strategies for each department, if you'll say so, they do not work in silos, because that prevents AI from being fully integrated across the enterprise. So AI, we are now focusing toward how this should be treated as a cohesive strategy, not as an isolated initiative altogether for the organization, because then the impact, the value of those insights would be spread across the enterprise, that would be realized by the users, by the customers, and that is a strategy. So while now it's Gen AI, there are multiple use cases which are coming up, but ensuring that they're all aligning with your vision, they're all strategic in nature, and know that you have the data, you have the relevance, you have the impact. What you need to deliver going forward is all been well thought through. So I think that is the mantra, and I'm truly excited that organizations are taking those steps. They're aligning towards that, going forward as well. So looking forward to working in that direction as well, Kashyap.
On that note, Vikas, thank you so much for making the time and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you again for having me here, Kashyap. It was a great conversation, and I'm really excited to see how AI technology continue to drive real transformation in the industry as well. Thank you.